Hello, Gems. Welcome to another episode of Tiaras and Tech. I'm your host, Shelley Benhoff, and today I'm talking to Natasha Batra about how to be a tech lead. She's a fellow Sitecore Technology MVP and tech lead, and we really had a great time talking about our amazingly similar experiences, given the fact that I'm in the US and she's in Germany. She gave some sound advice for technical leadership as I expected. I learned a lot from her. Without further ado, on to the episode. Hey, Natasha, welcome to Tiaras and Tech. I'm so glad you're here and that we have a chance to talk one-on-one because I have a lot to learn from you. And I just wanted to start out by asking, how did you start coding at all?
First of all, thanks a lot, Shelley, for inviting me to Tiaras and Tech. I have to say this is first of a kind interview, or I don't know if I should say that interview, but I'm really happy that we are doing this chat. Nobody offered that before. Nobody brought this topic before, and I'm really happy about this idea that you bring into the
Thank
community.
you. Yeah,
Congratulations already to you, and I wish you great success with that program.
thank you so much.
Okay, so the question that you asked me about how I got interested in writing code itself, there is a little story behind. I don't know, it might be boring, but I would still like
It's
to
not.
share.
It's not. Please share.
Okay, so it's a kind of emotional story. So I wanted to do genetic engineering before. I was a biology student and math student. So I wanted to go for genetic engineering, and I did get accepted by a really nice college who offers that within India, and I wanted to adopt that as a career. But my dad always wanted me to go for software engineering or computer science. He comes from banking background, and he was always amazed by the softwares that were built for him, and he was like, you do that cool stuff. Why don't you try? I was like, okay, let us we had a lot of long talks and sessions going on with this dilemma. Then we agreed, okay, I will try for 1 year. If I like this profession, or is this field good for me, then I would adopt it as a career. If not, then I would go back to genetic engineering. So I got into the admission for bachelor's degree of computer science, and I really liked that. I was doing C Sharp, C++, .NET, VB.NET also.
Mhm.
So, and doing different kinds of data structures. And I never studied that before in my school, so it was all new for me. And I was like, okay, there is another whole lot of another world that has different possibilities. So I thought, okay, yes, I want to go forward in this direction. So my dad is happy, I am happy. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I actually have a really similar story. I was, a tinkerer always. I had this toy that was like a computer. I'm older than you, so it was this little screen with floppy disks or whatever. But I just always cracked things open to see how they worked, and my dad pretty early on was just like, this is what you should do. And so I studied computer science, and I didn't think anything of it at the
Yeah.
time. Yeah. Yeah, so it's really interesting that you come from such a varied background. And it's actually common. I've any I've interviewed people who studied, history or physics or something, and just ended up in tech. So why did you choose Microsoft stack and dot
Uh,
net
ye-
and C sharp? I have my
uh,
answer, but it's not great.
no, actually, the first project that I worked in when I got my first job was in Unix, and it was a
Me
Unix-based
too.
application.
Weird.
Okay, that's weird, and nice at the same time. I don't know. And I have to say, I tried really hard to appreciate or love that technology for about 1 year, but I, it did
Yes.
not excite me at all.
No.
It was, even though it was a sunset or maintenance application, I was
Mm,
not developing anything new. I was supporting the incidents that were happening on production and solving those tickets, but and doing some small requirements from the clients. But I was like, oh, I hate that, why am I doing it? So I started looking for more projects and vacancies that were open in my company for different kinds of projects. And then I got introduced to one of the clients. They said, okay, we are going to bring a Sitecore project, would you want to work? I was still junior at that time.
mhm.
It was like second year of my professional career. So I was like, yeah, why not? And they were like, okay, we will let you do training for 1 month, and you can take it on your own pace, and then you can decide if you still want to be in the project and you want to adopt the technology or not. And I did that, and I'm glad that I did that decision. I did not change my technology so far. I'm happy being a Microsoft techie, I have to say.
Yeah, same. I chose it because it pays really well. I'm not going to lie. I compared technologies at the time and I just liked code. And I am not a Mac person. So it was just kind of a natural, progression. But I was just looking for jobs and I saw like C sharp, C sharp, C sharp. And I was like, yeah, I want to do that. And unfortunately, I actually learned C sharp by using those old websites that would convert VB.net into C
Um,
sharp. So I didn't
I
take a good route.
Same for me, I have to say. Yeah, I even interviewed for some mainframe projects, and where you learn how to design some infrastructure
Mm,
in house. And I don't know. I think it. I was like, no, this is boring.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm I'm more interested in cutting edge, I think. And that's why Sitecore stuff, it really speaks to me because it changes. I've been working with it for 10 years since version like 5 dot something. And I mean, it's really expanded. Just if anybody's listening and doesn't know what Sitecore is and why I've had Sitecore MVPs for the past like month. It is a experience platform. It's niche, and I've worked with it for 20 years, and we are both MVPs, Sitecore
Yes.
Technology MVPs. Now, I haven't counted how few women in our category, but I think here, at least um, in the States, it's like 5, including me,
Oh, okay.
out of 100 and
There is
some, maybe.
none in Germany. So
Yeah, yeah, that I know. In technology, in
in
strategy,
technology.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
a lot more in strategy. Anyway, segue to how did you become a Sitecore MVP?
Yeah. So I was getting really influenced by people who were contributing to the community, because I just got into it. Now I am working on different kinds of projects, and I'm looking at the Stack Overflow all the time and the Slack channel, and there is a lot of contribution going on from people. And I have to say that triggered me a little bit, that, okay, I know this stuff. So many people in States used to ask questions. Next day, I used to see it. So there was a time difference, but I knew the answers. And I was like, why don't I do that? Why don't I contribute? And I have to say, my colleague Sebastian also pushed me to actually do something in this direction, because he also saw some potential. And he was a great mentor for me to to really guide me, that, okay, why don't you go for user groups? You have enough to share, you have live project experience, so that is something people are interested in. So that's how I was afraid of presentations,
Oh, yeah.
honestly.
Same.
I was afraid of public speaking. One time I was like, my whole body was shaking inside, and I was just scared that nobody should see me
Yeah.
really. But that was long time ago. So I started going to the user groups. At first, I started attending the user groups and looking and hearing what people do, how is their body language, and then I started myself delivering certain presentations. I started doing that with the SXA project that we did, or we are still doing. So I thought, okay, that at that time it was still new, coming from customer side. So I thought, okay, it's worth sharing, and it was a nice experience. I went to SuckCon also, was a speaker at symposium. It was my first symposium ever, and I was there as a speaker. It was like a wonderful feeling, and it was with paired up with Sebastian, so we were both presenting as team, let's just say, and yeah, I can't thank him enough to push me in this direction. I was
Yeah.
active on the Slack community as well, for um, especially on the Slack and publishing service channel, because that is still my favorite areas of interest.
That's great. Yeah. Again, like I have a really similar story. It's crazy how we're from different countries, like, and these same sorts of things happen. I worked for Richard Seal, and he was the
Ah,
first MVP to tell me that I should be an MVP, and like coached me on how, and got me, you know, blogging and stuff like that. That was, I will always credit him with that every time I see him. Big hug, and yeah.
mm,
But it's people who take an interest in someone else's success and then supports that, which is so important. I teach these things, and I'm just like, you need to help other people instead of compete like against, I think. Yeah. So
completely agreed.
yeah. You are a tech lead, which is a very, responsible position, I would say. And I've also had experiences as a tech lead, some successful, like wildly successful, and some very much not. And I was interested to have you tell us, how did you start leading?
Uh, yeah, I will be very honest here. So there, another colleague of mine who was previously our tech lead was leaving. So that's how this vacancy got created. And I thought, why don't I apply? I would at least try. And yeah, my team also supported me. I got great support also from Sebastian. So basically, that my product owners as well, they were like, okay, give it a try. So I gave an interview, had a talk. It was internal position. There was not like I don't know, they were already aware about my skills, so it was not a very formal interview, but still that's part of the process when you change roles. So I applied for that and gave an interview, and I was scared, I have to say, to take on that responsibility,
Yeah.
because it means that you have to be part of a lot of meetings from the business side, and you have to be responsible for the team. You are the tech lead. A lot of decisions are in I don't know, come to you, and you have to make a call or direct it somewhere, discuss with the team, bringing in new ideas. So I was scared, but I thought, okay, what could go wrong? I would not justify this role, but still I would not be fired. There is no harm in trying. So I went for it and I got it, and I am tech lead since 3 years now, and I'm really happy that I took this decision and moved into this direction. It gave me a whole lot of different exposure, and I learned a lot. And I'm still learning every day. It's learning, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that it is so important for people to know, and especially women, if you are not sure of, you know, your skill set, or anything like that. If you have any interest in leading, just apply. Just like you said, what can go wrong? Like, even if something goes wrong, is anybody gonna like die because of you? You know, it'll be a learning experience, and that is, you know, I've learned much more from failure than I have from success. So clearly I've failed a lot. You know, but it's like we so often are too afraid, and I really, really love that you're just like, just do it, just jump in. It's hard to do. How do you jump in and overcome that inner voice that's like, I'm not sure about this?
It happens almost every other day, and it happens also with, even though, so there are different situations. Sometimes you have to make certain decisions or discussions on the tech side, also on the non-tech side, on the functional side, and also from the team's perspective. There are different areas. Also, if we think about giving feedbacks, that is also where I used to lack a lot. Now I'm in that position where I want to bring in the whole team at a certain pace, so that we are all in the success together or in the failure together. So giving feedback is also part of that role, and especially giving the critical feedback, which I learned a lot. uh, yeah, and I started giving good feedbacks also. It's not always about critical feedback. Just saying, hey, you are doing great work, thank you, it doesn't hurt anybody. It also motivates the other person that, okay, I'm being appreciated, recognized by a team member. And yeah, I think being part or being a tech lead is, what it means is to be on the same level as the team, being friends with them, and fighting from the team's perspective to the business. That sometimes, for example, if I talk about product in general, we tend to introduce a lot of tech debts along the development. There are so many tech debts, but the business pushes us to develop more features rather than tackling the already introduced tech debts. So this is what I also have been doing in the past, fighting from the team that, okay, no, hey, listen, please, we need to do this. Even if it is something small, I just push it and then try that it gets into the sprint, and we really work on getting rid of such things.
Yeah, communication. You've just like opened up a whole Pandora's box for me. I'm literally writing a course on that now, and I have just recorded the voiceover for the part about trust and gratitude. Literally everything you just said, I'm like, that's fresh in my mind. Yeah, it's really important to support people, because when people feel unappreciated, that's just a recipe for disaster. Everybody needs support and a purpose and stuff like that. So yeah, you're doing everything like completely
I'm,
right.
I'm trying my best. I
Yeah.
recently attended a training from Google, Search Inside Yourself.
Mhm.
I really like that. And I saw the change in myself too, that, okay, there were things, even though I try hard to not do them, but I was doing subconsciously. So it was like a good recap and retro for myself that I should stop doing or start doing. And just listening to people also help. Like, okay, tell me what's going on. You need to talk. You also do that all the time on Twitter. It's like so good to
Yeah.
see. So, I mean, really, we are in different time zones. Next day when I see your tweet, it's already 8 hours or something. But it's really good to see that you are not limited to your team or the people who you work with,
Oh yeah.
because that's what I'm doing. But you are open for the whole world, or people who you are connected to virtually, and that's really amazing. And I wish I could offer that also.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just want to be that person that I needed so badly, because my first mentor, I would say. I didn't even have one until I was probably 10 years into my career.
Mm-hmm.
And those first few years were a disaster because I had absolutely no guidance. And the internet was kind of new, so there wasn't even like Stack Overflow yet, and it was really hard. So yeah, and I I mentor, I can't even count how many people, and honestly, like I probably don't even know all their names, but people just ask stuff and I try to help. Yeah. It's
That's
just I know how hard it is when you aren't sure of your next step, or you're having a problem at work. Like, especially, I answer a lot of questions and issues from women who aren't treated, great at work. We'll talk about
mhm.
that later. What, in your opinion, let's shift back. I just realized I'm not wearing my tiara, but oh well, I'm
Oh,
not going to stop the episode to
oh,
go put it on. But yeah,
I
this is the first
forgot.
time. No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't expect the guests to have one, but in the future, it would be pretty cool if I like had enough money to send every guest a tiara. That's that's up in there. Anyway, back to tech leadership. Well,
Actually, I had that in my shopping list. I wanted to buy one, the flower tiara, because I thought, okay, it will be cool. But yeah, I
no
really
worries.
did not pay attention.
No worries, not required. Um, anyway, what, in your opinion, makes a good tech lead?
Mhm. Um, so I think what makes a good tech lead, or at least things what I try to do, is listening to the team, first of all, mindful listening, bringing in new ideas, what is going on around in the tech world, into and mentoring the new team members, onboarding them, giving them overview about the product, what we are doing, what are our internal processes, and why we are doing it, in getting them accustomed to the end customer, basically getting them accustomed to the end customer and the product itself and the goal, what we want to achieve, where do we want to go. And recently, although it is coming from management level to our company, but in general, in the past years, we have started paying more attention to the data, looking at the data, the user behavior tracking, and taking a look at the statistics, what's going on, doing more of A/B tests. So thinking from all the angles and bringing it to the team, letting them also do something, sharing responsibilities. I think that's what, and still not being a boss, being
Yeah,
part of the team mainly. So yeah, that is something I think. And it's also a right match between your team members and the business side that you have to maintain. And you have to find the right balance, that okay, you should not overdo on anywhere, and at the same time you should not overburden yourself. It's a product that everybody wants to uh, bring forward together.
yeah, absolutely. I will definitely say that I had problems delegating responsibilities when I started leading. Well, I think also because I was in a position where I was wearing many hats. I wasn't only a lead, I was also a dev and trainer and sometimes QA. It was weird. But yeah, I think that, just like you said, it's really important to listen to people, and have that emotional intelligence to lead them, and that there is a big difference from a team lead and a manager. Whereas the team lead is like friends with everybody, because you're not in charge of money or like job security and stuff like that. So managers, I feel like, kind of cannot be friends, like
Mm-hmm.
personally, but friendly, of course, but there's a line. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I've crossed that a lot before, and it just doesn't work, I think. But yeah, what support is needed to um, either learn these leadership skills and to actually be successful as a tech lead?
Mm-hmm. uh, I have to say, I will be very honest with you. When I was going to take this role, I was watching some YouTube videos and reading some blogs about people who, I mean, each and every person has their own experiences, but it's nice to hear them, to get some kind of inspiration, or I don't know, to give you some light that okay. And I had some inspirations in front of me also, the people who were leaving us. So yeah, I think the most, believe in yourself first of all. And if you, what I used to do is, if I need some kind of training, I used to reach out to my managers or bosses that okay, there is a great course I saw here, I would like to enroll myself, and maybe go under a two day or 3 day workshop. And that's what I did also. So and it's really important that you get support from your managers in this direction. Sometimes it's not treated with equal importance as compared to the actual work that you do in your sprints. It does not reflect there directly, but in the long run, it does inculcate some new things within you as a person. And when you are in those shoes, then you realize, okay, if I'm under the fire, I have to go through this. How would I do it? And yeah, so and
Yeah,
being
I
open
know.
to learn. That's.
Hmm. I stress that people should be open to learn from anybody. I expect juniors, if companies would hire juniors, this is a hill I will die on, that I've learned so many things from juniors because they are fresh out of school or, a program or something. They might have an insight into a, cutting edge technology that an older person like me has not been exposed to. And so in like mentoring people, I almost require, no, I pretty much do require that I learn too, that, I'm teachable. And it's actually a approach to help them feel heard, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know for me, there have been so many times where I just felt like nobody's listening to me and I'm so frustrated. And it's hard to overcome that thing because it's internalized and you wonder why is this happening? What am I doing to cause this? I was just wondering, as a uh, fellow female coder, if you've ever had any adverse experiences at school, at work.
No, no.
Good.
Luckily, I did not go through that. I'm really happy that I did not have such experience. I know from a few of my friends that they have had such experiences, and I really felt sorry for them. That I I really cannot imagine we are living in this world where still such inequality exists.
Mhm.
But I have to say I've been lucky, or I don't know, that I
Yeah,
never had to go through such situation myself.
I celebrate that. You're the first person that I've talked to that, was just kind of like, not really. Um, because I think that it's important to know that it's not everyone. It's a lot of
Mhm.
us, but it's not everyone. And I feel like it's just roulette. It's just life. There's no like reason. Generally, you aren't doing anything besides existing that, just really sets people off. And I'm like any kind of person, any gender. Sometimes people just don't like strong women, I'd say. And so, yeah, I've had some experiences as a coder, especially where I'm often hated by the team, the like dev team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loved by the client, like almost 100%. I'm loved by strategy, QA, UX, UI, front end. And their complaints are never my skills, but that, I'm outspoken, I'm very blunt. I know this about myself. I try not to be, but sometimes I don't have the time to like be polite, I guess. So
Yeah.
like I'm part of the reason. I understand this, but it's just I see men acting the same way, and they're, strong, whereas I'm
Mm.
annoying,
Yeah.
and it's hard. And so eventually I knew that I had left the whole tech lead role behind, and that, I'm obviously interested in teaching and,
Mm-hmm.
doing content and stuff. But yeah, I don't really know where I was going with that. I went off on a little
No,
tangent there.
I think that's I understand, and I know that this happens still, and it's very weird why for the same situation, if a woman behaves the same way as a man, then they are treated differently or frowned upon for their reactions, and it's very weird. And yeah,
Yeah,
we should definitely not accept that, otherwise it will go on and on.
exactly. And
Yeah.
that's why, I talk about it, because it's important. So many people just assume that it's like, oh, it's, um this treatment of women is largely subconscious. So sometimes when I call someone out on it, their immediate reaction is, no, I'm not misogynist or whatever. I'm an ally to women. And then I have concrete evidence that that is not true. Some of them like apologize and are just like, I never realized that this was a thing. And that is
Mhm.
why I call it out, because it's like just that one person, right, who will actually listen, one person at a time,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was always really hard to lead people that I knew didn't like me. I'm assuming you've never had that experience, because you're
No,
great.
while you were talking about it just now, I recalled in my first company, I had similar bad experience when I wanted to leave the company, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Why does that
So
always happen? It's like they get mad that that you're leaving, but
ex- I don't
why?
know. I
Why
mean,
are they mad?
yeah, and persons similar to my skill set also left the company, but for him it was like, okay, he wants to grow. What about me? What about me? I want to do that too. Sorry. I cannot.
Exactly.
It's not a marriage that I have to be part of. For the
Exactly.
rest of my life, I also want change. So yeah, it was not very well appreciated by my manager. But
Yeah.
if I'm happy that I made the right decision and
I mean,
things
clearly
fell.
you did.
Yeah.
Clearly that was the right decision. I've heard this story from so many women that were like, when you try to quit a job, they get mad, and I don't know why. Like, it's It's probably just the stress of knowing that there's work that will not be done. The other thing that has happened to me multiple times is after I leave a job, I then see like 3 or 4 different job postings for different roles that I used to do in that one role and that I
Oh,
complained about. And I said, I can't do all of these things. This is a completely separate job.
okay. That must have been terrible surprise. I'm guessing.
Not really a surprise so much as just like a, well, at least they listened in the end because I
Yeah.
left. So I still changed their perspective, even though they were mad that I left, and then realized what I said was true and that one role that I had was actually like 3 or 4.
But it's quite cool that you still made an impact even after
Mm,
leaving, that people did realize that, okay, this is costing us 3 more people.
yep.
And it's, I think it's good.
Yeah, because I was doing a terrible job because I was doing too much, and so I wasn't set up for success, and I just imploded.
Mhm.
And then also when you're like multitasking that much, you really can't produce quality work in any area. This is why I tried and failed to be a full stack developer because I just felt like I don't know enough on like Angular and stuff like that to, call myself that. But thinking about that now, I probably was fine. And I just had imposter syndrome or something like that. Yeah. Um, but yeah, so what advice do you have? And I really, really would like to hear this from you for women who are interested in coding and then eventually leading.
uh, Advice: don't pressurize yourself too much, first of all, and then believe in yourself and go for it. There is world open with whole lot of opportunities, and nothing hurts but trying. And it's so, I don't know why people see it differently, but I think right now there are many women who really want to promote other women like you are doing it. I don't know, men see it differently. They think that women are trying to compete against each other, but that's really not the case. Yeah, and if you really want to get into that position as a tech lead, then you have to start learning about leadership in general, because I think I have there is instinct in every woman about leading. They have this leading capabilities. It's given by birth, I think.
Absolutely. Like,
It's given. You just have to identify that, okay, I can do it at work as well. I think we can do justice with the role equally.
yeah, absolutely. I've always told like moms, okay, being a mom, you are a manager, you're the freaking CEO, you're handling all of that stuff. That takes a lot of organization, communication, and all of the skills needed to lead people. I think that is why we are natural leaders, because we're used to telling people like what to do. The kids, husband, spouse, whatever. Yeah, and I always have like a list of things for my husband to do, and like now that he produces all my content, we have everything in Jira. I should
Oh, I
post a
love that.
screenshot of it sometime because we're working on like, multiple projects at once. And I thought, well, I teach project management too, so I should probably do it right. So, yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Just
I can totally
imagine,
resonate with you. Yeah.
yeah, just imagine like um moms who I'm sure you're out there, somebody who manages their household using some sort of project management system. I once read this man actually had um applied agile to his family. So they would have like daily stand-ups and scrums and retrospectives after things. That's actually something that you said earlier, how you had like a self retrospective. I really like that. I think I'm going to start to do that too.
Yeah, I learned it in a training. I would give credit to the trainer. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like possibly I could write a whole course on this, agile your life or something like that.
Would be
That would be a
cool.
great topic.
It- their retrospection for last week dinner plans, the diet plans.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do next week? Planning the sprint for home. Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because like restaurants and stuff and dinners and like recipes, I feel like afterwards you have to reflect and say, did I like that? Am I going to eat there again? You could use like a decision tree or something.
That's true. I'm very
Yeah.
much used to write Google reviews to every restaurant I go.
Oh
So
yeah, same.
yeah. And I love doing that. And once I did not recall that I've been to that restaurant about 2.5 years ago. I did not remember that, okay, I've been there, and I was checking it on Google. Said, hey, look, I have reviewed this play. We must go here.
Exactly. I actually have, I'm sorry I'm going off on this tangent, but that's podcasts, I have a drawer of menus and I keep all of them and like grade them. If something was like A plus or whatever, we'll go there again. But I keep it because I forget which ones I liked and not. So anyway,
Yeah. I
tips
think there
for
could be an
organizing
app.
your life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could do an
There
app
could be
for
an app.
that. Mm.
Yeah.
It
Maybe.
probably exists already, and I, yeah,
I
haven't
would,
happened upon it yet.
maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I could talk to you all day about coding and leadership and everything, but I know you're busy, so I'm going to wrap this up. Do you have anything to promote? Do you have any upcoming speaking engagements or your social medias to share with people?
Sadly not. I have an upcoming vacation, and I'm really excited for that from next week. But I have to admit that since I got too much busy into the project, that I stopped doing the community work since past 1 year and all the
Mm,
horrible pandemic situation. But
yeah.
I'm pushing myself back again, and to maybe I might start blogging soon or speaking at the user groups again, because I haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah, same. Cool. I will put links to all of that in the description/show notes. Thank you so much for this. As I expected, I learned so much, and I will take notes on everything you said. And I just am so inspired by everything that you do. I was a huge fan before
Oh,
we
come on. You are
met
too
in person.
generous and kind. You are an inspiration for, I don't know, women in tech community in general. So I'm
I
happy
hope
that
so.
you are doing this, and you are identifying people, recognizing them, and giving them opportunity to feel good about themselves. I mean, I felt good that I was invited by you. I was like, okay, Shelley knows me. She
Oh,
wants me to be here. It felt really nice. Thanks a lot for that.
thank you so much. All
Thank
right.
you. Have a nice day and evening. I don't know. Nice day. Yeah.
Afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Goodbye.
Bye. If you want to support us, please like, subscribe, and share this episode with your fellow gems. Let me know in the comments what other topics you would like me to cover. Thanks for watching or listening, and have a great day.